How would you like to be the proud owner of your very own DC Multiverse Infinite Frontier Robin? Not just any Infinite Frontier Robin, but this one, right here. Find out how later in the video. Welcome to 5 Points of Articulation, where I review action figures and then articulate 5 points to help you decide if you want to add that figure to your collection. The 5 points I discuss are packaging, presentation, posability, playability, and price. I'm Jason, and if you enjoy my content, please like, share, subscribe, do all the YouTube rigmarole. In this corner, Damian Wayne Robin from DC Rebirth. In this corner, Damian Wayne Robin from Infinite Frontier. Both have their advantages, but which boy wonder is better? Starting off, the packaging in these boxes are virtually indistinguishable. Robin, 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 and Robin. This one, of course, is Infinite Frontier, and if you want it, here's the barcode. The biggest differences are on the back. The Rebirth figure has artwork to depict the character. Infinite Frontier, however, has a product shot. Pretty cool lighting, if I do say so myself. I'd also like to draw your attention to these previews below. Notice that it mentions the Batman Who Laughs. I pointed out because the Batman Who Laughs appears on the previous figure with a completely different name and card. This leads me to suspect that they're reissuing this figure. I'd also like to point out this Batman from Curse of the White Knight. You might recognize it as the version that came in the 2-pack, indicating that a single carded release is on the way. So if it happens, you heard it here first. As for which one is better, that's honestly a matter of personal taste. Having some kind of visual representation to compare the character against is important, but I also think it's important to show the customer what they're supposed to be getting in the box, especially with so many swappers out there. Either way, for this round, I'm calling it a draw. Moving on to presentation, and at the top of their pompadour, Robin stands at 6 1/4 inches. From the top, and we can see the similarities in the hair and the shape of their head. Hopefully someday Damian will grow into his ears. The biggest difference between the two are the masks. Zooming in, this one kinda looks crooked. This one, however, makes him look like an alien. I am impressed by the lack of paint slop though. Moving on down, and although they do cut very similar silhouettes, they're engineered very, very differently. That, however, is a conversation for posability. In general, the Rebirth design more closely fits my idea of Robin. You've got your iconic red, green, and yellow motif, Damian's version of the Robin symbol, and his signature laced up boots. The Infinite Frontier costume is a newer look for when Damian goes out on his own. This one has a more muted black and gray motif. I feel like it serves as a nice hint that someday he'll take over the mantle of Batman. One curious choice is that he has the letter D as a belt buckle. He's also got a W on his shoes, and we all know what those initials spell. Darkwing Duck. Let's get dangerous. As different as these two costumes are, it's the similarities that fascinate me. Although the colors are different, the R's are the same. They also both have very similar collars. Both of them have knee pads, and even though it's a bit more subdued, the Infinite Frontier still has some very striking laces. I'm also impressed by how similar the capes are. Even though they're both unique, they have the same texture and sharp edges. For two figures that were sculpted a year apart, I'm very impressed by the continuity between the two. Personal preferences aside, and both of these figures are equally well sculpted, well painted representations of their comic book designs. For presentation, this round is another draw. Moving on to posability, and despite the similar frames, there are actually a lot of differences between the two. One thing that they have in common though is that their heads are on dumbbell joints. They can look up this much, which admittedly isn't much at all, but both figures can bury the chin. Both figures have swivel hinge shoulders, but whereas the Rebirth figure can raise his arm up over 90 degrees, the Infinite Frontier can barely clear 45. This of course is because of the shoulder armor. That said, you can at least move his arm straight up. The Infinite Frontier Robin, however, does have a rotator cuff, which the Rebirth figure does not. That said, both figures have bicep swivel, but whereas the Rebirth figure only has single jointed elbow, the Infinite Frontier version has a double. Both figures have a ball-style wrist. There is some squishiness in the abdomen, but nothing that holds a pose. And while the Infinite Frontier version has a dumbbell waist, near as I can tell, the Rebirth version has no waist articulation whatsoever. Below the waist, and both figures have ball-jointed hips that love to pop off. They can kick out this far, and while Rebirth can only get this far of a spread, Infinite Frontier gets a perfect split. Moving on down, and Rebirth only has single jointed knees, whereas Infinite Frontier has double. Moving all the way down, and both figures have toe articulation, and McFarlane ankle balls that swivel, hinge, and pivot. Between the limited range and the limbs popping off, if this were a regular review for posability, I'd give this Robin 0 points. That said, this round definitely goes to Infinite Frontier, who's finally starting to take a lead. Before we continue, just a quick reminder. In addition addition to the Infinite Frontier Robin, we're also giving away a Titan Joker Megafig. To find out more about that, check out the link at the end of this video. Moving on to playability, and Rebirth Robin comes with a couple of pretty cool ninja stars. Zooming on in, and they kind of look like little bat wings. He also comes with a pretty big sword. In fact, it's almost as big as him. Conversely, the Infinite Frontier Robin comes with this much smaller sword, and that's it. In his defense, I haven't read the Infinite Frontier comic, so I don't know if there were any other accessories he could be coming with. That said, the additional points of articulation did drive up production costs, so I do understand that they had to make cuts somewhere. Also, while the new sword isn't quite as impressive, it is a bit more realistic than this. Seriously, where would he even keep this? But playability is more than just accessories, it's also about how well your figure plays with others. For the only other Damian I have, here's one by Mattel. In terms of sculpting and painting, it absolutely cannot compare to McFarlane, but I will say this is closer to the size that I'd prefer. Also, get ready to hear a lot of that. For a brief journey of the Robins that brought us here, we have Dick Grayson. This one is by DC Rebirth Classics. Here we have the McFarlane Toys Carrie Kelly. Not only would this size have been perfect, but they managed to work in the same amount of articulation as Infinite Frontier. For some Tim Drake comparisons, we have the 2003 series by Mattel, DC Rebirth Classics by Mattel, and DC Comics Multiverse also by Mattel. For some Batgirl comparisons, here we have DC Essentials. This one, of course, is based on her Burnside look. Here we have the Art of the Crime Batgirl by McFarlane. Since they made this Batgirl way too tall, these figures actually scale pretty well. Also, the more stylized face matches up pretty well too. Most recently, McFarlane released this Batgirl based on her look from Batman the Three Jokers. It shares a lot of the same body parts as Art of the Crime, but as you can see, is a bit shorter. On the subject of Three Jokers, here they are with that version of the Red Hood. And don't worry, I have absolutely not given up on reviewing these two figures. For one more Red Hood comparison, here they are with DC Essentials. For another grown-up Robin / DC Essentials comparison, here they are with Nightwing. And for a more stylized version of Nightwing, here they are with the DC Designer Series Greg Capullo version. Height difference aside, and I think that these match up pretty well. And for one more member of the Batman family, here they are with Alfred. Of course, you can't have the Batman family without Batman himself. This one is the Greg Capullo version. Here we have DC Essentials. This one is based off the Rebirth costume. And on the subject of DC Rebirth, here they are with the McFarlane version. And here they are with Batman the Three Jokers. Also, I accidentally nudged the Infinite Frontier version in between takes. For one last Bruce Wayne comparison, here they are with the Battle Damage version. And for my money, I think this might be the best McFarlane matchup of father and son. But for one last Batman comparison, here they are with Future State. For some villain comparisons, here they are with the Rebirth version of Joker and the Clown version of Joker from Batman the Three Jokers. For Damian's archenemy, here they are with Deathstroke. But for his archenemy, here they are with Harley Quinn. It's a little in-joke for fans of the cartoon. And for fans of the show, here they are with King Shark and Clayface. For a relative scale comparison, here they are with Pizza Spidey and the Spectacular Spider-Man. And as always, here they are with Stealth Iron Man. Time will tell if Infinite Frontier has staying power or is another flash in the pan. Rebirth, though unique in its own way, is familiar enough to be compatible with more figures in your collection. The added accessories also help. For playability, this round goes to Rebirth. This leaves us with nothing left to discuss but the price. When it first came out, Rebirth retailed for $19.99. These days, the figure is only available on the aftermarket, which will set you back between $35 to $45. This Damian also retails for $19.99, but you can get yours for free. All you gotta do is be a subscriber, have a mailing address in the continental United States, and comment below that you want it. I'll select a winner at random and announce it on Saturday, April 30th, 2022. There's no purchase necessary, and this giveaway is not sponsored by McFarlane Toys, YouTube, or anybody but me. Deadline to enter is Friday, April 29th, 2022 at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The figure is loose but will include its original packaging and accessories. And if you're wondering, you can absolutely enter both this giveaway and my giveaway for Titan Joker. These two figures are tied 3 for 3, and it all comes down to this. I prefer the Rebirth, but the aftermarket is a barrier for too many collectors. For price, this round goes to Infinite Frontier, who wins the battle 4-3. For more about the Titan Joker giveaway, click here, or for another Robin versus, check out this video on Carrie Kelly. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back again real soon, but until then, play nice and have fun.